Hello, I'm Jonathan Crook, Print Technical Consultant for HP. In this video, I'm going to do an overview of device discovery and grouping in HP Security Manager. Today I'm using HP Security Manager 3.15 in Windows Server 2022. So the first step in using Security Manager is going to be finding your devices and discovering them on a regular basis and grouping them together in a useful fashion that allows you to take full advantage of the software solution itself. So first off, we're going to go over here to devices. And you can see here on the left, I've already got some groups here already set up. And you can see I've ran some policies and stuff like that. But let's focus on the groups for a second. So Security Manager allows you to have multiple groups for multiple things, right? So you can see here, I have one that's called a testing group. It's a manual group, and it's basically these can be devices that you need for sandbox testing, or you're getting ready to change settings and you want to test these settings in an environment, right? You can have a group like that. But the nice thing about it is devices can be in multiple groups. So this device here, which is a E78625, can also show up in, say, a color devices group here that is an auto group. And so the other form of grouping is called auto grouping. Security Manager at this time allows you to have up to 10 auto groups based on searches, right? And I'm going to show you what that means, right? But the goal is that you do have the ability to group devices in a fashion that's going to help you better maintain that security posture inside Security Manager. But the first thing we need to do is discover devices, right? So over here on the left, this blue bar, you guys are going to see this through a lot of videos. The first thing we want to do is discover devices, right? And when we do discover devices, we are going to see the screen pop up. And this is where you can do a number of things. The first thing is, what group do we want to add it to? Do we want to add these devices to a group right away, or do we not, right? So most cases, the default is going to be all devices. We're going to do IPv4, right? And then you might put in a range. You can actually put in multiple ranges here, right? So if I were to come in here and say, I want this one here, 1.254, I can say add, and it drops it down here. So then I can come in here and say 192.168.2.1. So this allows you to actually add multiple subnets into into a discovery, right? This is what we see used most of the time. You can do number of network hops based on the computer, the server that the software is running on at the time, right? So most cases, what we see is we see this, right? And you can see here we can export a device list, and that allows you to maintain that list for future, right? And then you can say add from file for discovery, right? So we can use a file to import these as well. But the most important thing about Discover devices is over here, right? Um, you can schedule everything to be done inside of Security Manager, and that includes running a periodic check on your network to look for new devices that have not been found on the network, right? So you might say, you know what, we want to run this monthly, right? So what we can do is we're going to run it now, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to run it every month like clockwork. That's going to help the system go out and find printers on the network that may have been brought in by someone else, or they were added and you're not aware of it. Um, and so it really helps out with that. So once you do that here, we can hit discover. And what's going to happen is it's actually going to start that discovery task, right? We will have a video on tasks at a later time, but you can see here that it is basically running that discovery now for me. But since we've already got devices in here, we can go ahead and keep going with this, right? So the next step is grouping them together. Now, the nice thing about auto groups is you don't have to have the auto groups set up for them to automatically populate devices. You can create new auto groups, and then it'll run the rules off those auto groups based on the current device list as well. When it comes to manual groups, that's where you would have to go in and manually add devices, unless during that discover phase that I was showing you here, you selected that group ahead of time, right? So maybe you set up a group for HR, and then you have a device discovery subnet that is for HR, right? So then you can actually create a scheduled discovery for HR manual group in every month like clockwork, right? So you can go in and do that as well. But we can also manage, we can manage the groups here on the left, right here in this blue bar again. So when we hit manage groups, you can see I've got my groups here. These little blue icons are the indicators again of the auto groups. We come in here, we say, we're going to give it a name. This is where we say whether it's a manual group, which means you manually add devices to it through either to device discovery or through your own process, or automatic grouping. So if you do automatic grouping, one of the things it allows you to do is specify the filter criteria. So this is where you come in here and you might say, okay, we're doing a device discovery across multiple subnets, right? But what we want to do is make sure that if the IP address contains 192.168.1, right? Um, and we can ignore the case. Basically what's going to happen is that any device that's found with a 192.168.1 in their IP address is going to be added to this group, right? And so you can see here, if you go through here, there's a lot of different options available to you as far as how you want to necessarily auto group. But keep in mind, there is only 10 auto groups, right? So choose wisely on them. It just depends on the situations that you're looking for. When you go into the advanced here, this is where in theory you could write out your script for it. I am not very much familiar with it, but there is a way for you to go in and do something like this. You can get a little bit more granular, and we do have documents and guides on the Security Manager site that allows you to go in there and it gives you more detail around this advanced part. But then once we do that, we hit save, and now you can see here I've got a video auto group. And if I close this out, what should happen here is now I've got all of my devices based on that search that I did, 192.168.1, right? So those are all my devices based on there. And then the other form is the manual group, right? So this is a manual group, and you can say what parent group it's in, right? So this is important too. You can actually create folders inside folders, right? So we could come in here and say it's under testing group, and we hit add, and then you can see right there, now we've got a manual group under testing group. So again, grouping allows you to really go out and coordinate and organize the devices in your fleet to best serve you when it comes to running policies or tasks inside the environment. I hope this has been informative for you. Have a great day.